Hi everyone. So the issue I'll be discussing with you about is the position of women in the family and abortion. The reason why I chose this topic is because I recently read a piece of news. The news is about a famous celebrity in China who hired two women to be her surrogate mother because she can't stand the pain of giving birth. And when the babies were 7 months old, she asked the surrogate mother to abort the babies just because she doesn't want them anymore and she broke up with her boyfriend. In A Raisin in the Sun, Ruth has faced a similar problem. Because of her financially strapped family, she needs to make a decision of if she's going to keep the baby or not. In our world, there are many women like Ruth. Even though I don't like it, I'll have to agree with what Mama said in the book. When the world gets ugly enough, a woman will do anything for her family, the part that's already living. This is the truth of a society that women, especially poor women, are making decisions that only have one option. If the youngest family didn't get them money, Ruth will have to abort her kid even though she didn't want to.
Women's role in the family. Nowadays, women and men are mostly equal in their households, with the cooking of meals, chores around the house, and the source of a household's income. But this behaviour, especially by women, has not always been encouraged. How we treat and see women today has been formed by our views, ideas, and beliefs we've had in history and has enabled us to develop them into what we have today. I bring you back to the 1600s, colonial America. Women were expected to be married by the age of 20 and have children. The women were responsible for completing tasks to look after the house and keep it in order. Some of these tasks included preparing meals, mending clothes, making baskets, doing laundry, preserving food for the winter, tending to livestock, making candles, dyeing clothes, and working in the garden. These women worked from sun up to sun down, which meant they had to be hard workers and resilient. Not that they had a choice. They had to obey their man in their life at all times, whether it be their brother, father, or husband. Showing you this information proves that these women had a tough time, and you'd think that these oppressive ways would ease. I now bring you to the 1950s, where these oppressive ways certainly have not eased. In the 1950s, men were seen as the hard-working gender and the gender who has more skills. But in saying this, women were the people who did the most work in one day. While the men were at work, the women would stay home, get the kids ready for school, pack their lunches, clean the house so their husband can come home to clean surroundings, cook dinner in time for it to be ready on the table by the husband arrived home, and pick up the kids from school if need be. Basically, women kept the house afloat, but were seen as substandard to their husbands. While males were brought up to follow their father's footsteps and become a successful businessman and marry a perfect wife, females were brought up to be that perfect wife, obey their husbands, do the household chores, and cook. Now, if you compare these times with modern times, you'll find that they're quite different. Women nowadays can actually have an option to work and not be expected to be a housewife. For example, if we look at my family, both of my parents are teachers. We all have chores we undertake, which change regularly. Most of the time Dad cooks, but occasionally Mum and I join in. Women's role in the family have drastically changed over hundreds of years, and gladly for the better. These days there are no specific expectations of a woman in the house, which enables them to have the future they want. This was a production by Abby Meyer. I hope you enjoyed.
After watching the media piece, we can see that women are actually a huge part of the family, but people often don't see it that way. Just like in A Raisin in the Sun, Walter will blame everything on Ruth even though it was his fault. And he thinks Ruth doesn't really do anything but complain. Men always think packing lunch or taking care of children is not a big deal. But the fact is, if they switch their positions, they will not say such a thing. The media piece also talks about how in the old time, the commercials were always spreading an idea of women should be pretty, get married early, and have babies before they're not too old yet, clean the houses, and leave no worries for men. And the author used a lot of images and drawings to help the audience understand what she was talking about. After watching the media piece, I have to say that this should not be the way. And I think that in A Raisin in the Sun, Ruth is like the woman who lives in the 1600s, and Benita is like the woman who lives in nowadays. compared to the days in 1959, I'm gonna say that this issue has changed. Women nowadays are like beneath that. We can do many careers. We can be doctors or pilots if we want. And although there are many voices saying women shouldn't be doing this or that, and what's more common is people always put the word female in front of careers. But compared to the old times, I have to say that the society is developing. And we still need to put more efforts on making this world a better place, change the position of women in the family and society, and make us no longer the machine of giving birth and housekeeping. That's what I'm gonna talk about today. Thank you for listening.